The Northern and Southern Protectorates were officially amalgamated on January 1st, 1914, giving birth to our dear country, Nigeria. This year marks the 100 years of existence of Nigeria, and the federal government has lined up several activities to celebrate the centenary. As Nigeria clocks her centenary age, so also do some agencies and infrastructure built by them. One of such agencies is the Nigeria Ports Authority and some seaports controlled by the authority. On this new edition of The Axis, our special focus will be on NPA's infrastructural development, the mandate of NPA under the current regime, pilotage services, the activities of the terminal operators, and many more. Welcome to The Axis, where we examine the ports as the axis of the Nigerian economy. I am Tola Alade. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. The Nigerian Ports Authority quarterly invites all registered shipping companies, concessionaires, lessees and other stakeholders to the flag-off and sensitization workshop of its newly deployment revenue collection solution, PayDirect, which will henceforth be used for all payments into the authority's account with the various commercial banks in the country. The deployment of the e-payment revenue collection solution will reinforce the authority's commitment to improving the turnaround time of vessels and the overall efficiency of port operations. The flag-off sensitization forum will hold as follows. Date 20th February 2014. Time 11 a.m. Venue Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos. All further inquiries should be directed to Assistant General Manager, Information and Communication Technology, Nigeria Ports Authority, NPA House 26/28 Marina, Lagos. Email a.edosomeone@nigerianports.org. Signed, Management, Nigerian Ports Authority. Our special focus is on NPA's port infrastructural development. But first, we'll bring you news making the rounds in the maritime sector. The Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Malam Habib Abdullahi, has assured the Nigerian Navy that the NPA will continue to collaborate with the Navy on matters relating to safety and security in the maritime sector. Here are the full details of the report. The Managing Director of Nigerian Ports Authority, Malam Habib Abdullahi, has given assurance that the authority will continue to collaborate with the Nigerian Navy on matters of safety and security in the Nigerian maritime sector. He gave the assurance while receiving the flag officer commanding Western Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy, who paid him a courtesy visit in his office in Lagos. The General Manager, Marine and Operations, Malam Mohammed Bulangu, who represented the Managing Director, recalls that Nigerian Ports Authority and the Navy have a long history of mutual and beneficial relationship, which has enhanced positive development in the maritime sector. Malam Bulangu further said that as an organization that is committed to safety and security in the maritime sector, NPA will always give support to all agencies operating in the ports in order to ensure effective and efficient port operations.
MP is always, disposed to, see how we can partner with the Navy in order to ensure safety in our marine domain, and the support and cooperation that we have received that we will continue to render. We will continue as much as is possible and within the limited resources that we have. And like you rightly pointed out, the partnership, is limitless. It's limitless. We are disposed at every time to see anywhere we can partner with the Nigerian Navy.
The flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, who assumed office about 4 weeks ago, said he decided to pay a courtesy visit to Nigerian Ports Authority as part of his familiarization program with other agencies in the sector, and that he has come to NPA because the authority is a major stakeholder in the sector.
NPA being one of the major stakeholders within the Nigerian maritime environment, and particularly a major friend of the Nigerian Navy, I feel this will be one of the first places to visit.
Rear Admiral Alade thanks the authority for the support given to the Navy over the years, especially the provision of patrol boats. He pledged the command's readiness to cooperate with NPA in the maritime industry. The Managing Director of Nigerian Ports Authority, Malam Habib Abdullahi, has expressed the readiness of the organization to support the Kaduna Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Kasima, on the sponsorship of the 35th Kaduna Trade Fair. Speaking during the courtesy call of the Kasima executive to his office, Malam Abdullahi acknowledged that the Kaduna Trade Fair, being one of the prestigious and pioneer trade fairs in the north, has over the years continued to attract major investments both locally and internationally.
I know how important it is and how attractive and prestigious it is up to today. It's not surprising that Nigerian Port Authority, also being a pioneer in its own industry, participates or has been participating in this trade fair I believe for a very long time as well.
The Managing Director thanked the Kasima's executive for appreciating NPA's consistent participation at the trade fairs over the years. He added that the theme of this year's fair will be of great interest to the Business Development and Joint Ventures Department of the authority. Earlier in his speech, the president of Kasima, Dr. Abdul Alimi Bello, appealed to the management of NPA to sponsor a part of the 35th edition of Kaduna Trade Fair tagged Agricultural Transformation in a Private-Public Partnership Environment.
As part of preparation for the fair and some of the major events, we consider it necessary to approach our allies and friends at the Nigerian Port Authority who have been consistently participating at our trade fair.
Dr. Bello added that the fair, which will run between February 21st and 2nd March 2014, will feature a quiz for senior secondary school students, first in its series, and a seminar on agricultural consultation for economic transformation. The Customs Area Controller of Apapa Area 1 Command, Controller Epowe Edike, has called on importers and their agents to comply with all import guidelines in order to avoid delay in the clearance process of goods. The controller, who made the call at a stakeholders forum held at the command, stated that the issue of compliance is the biggest challenge the command is faced with. Speaking further, the controller said that the new pre-arrival assessment report, PAR, introduced by the Nigeria Customs Service, is aimed at facilitating trade within a short period, adding that it will also create the enabling environment for foreign investment.
Before the good arrive, you would have made adequate arrangement. But as soon as it arrives, then you lodge in the SGD and they begin to process, and then you carry a consignment and then you go. Basically to save time. Save time, it means less cost of doing business in our port. It means investors will be encouraged in our port. It means the turnaround time of imports in our country will be better. It means foreigners will trust us, will have confidence in us, because the cost of doing business will be cheaper.
All we are asking you is to be honest and transparent in your declaration. Be a compliant trader. It is cheaper, easier, and also save you a lot of time. If you do these things at a pretty good time before your cargo arrives, this thing will be given to you straight. And that is why it is called pre-arrival assessment report.
The Stakeholders Forum, which was interactive, afforded the stakeholders the opportunity to bear their minds on critical issues.
If you try to get into the port without the port pass, you will be arrested, because ordinarily you are a legal person within the port. And secondly, we cannot account for you, because we can only account for you if you have our pass. And if you don't have our pass, you are a legal person. And what do you do to an illegal person? You arrest them. Arbitrarily locking of wheel has been stopped in the port to some certain extent. We only lock the wheel of those we think there is need for us to lock their wheel. And who are those we think we should lock their wheels? If we are blocking the common users road, obviously you are going to, one way or the other, obstruct or disrupt the operations within the port. And if you are not doing anything within the stipulated time, like 2 to 3 hours to get your truck out of the way, honestly, we will lock it. Maybe after 2-3 hours, if you are not there to still take your truck away, we will tow it to the police stations.
Nigerian government policy, facilitation of trade, and if delays come in the release and delivery of goods, then that policy is very nonsense of.
Appealing to all the importers to be bound by voluntary compliance we are talking about, to look into what they bring in. There is a regulation that things like two-stroke engine is totally banned in Nigeria.
So that's one of the still problems we're having in terms of cargo clearance, and we're talking about provisional release, and these releases are still coming back to perfect year. This is when the car comes out. And when we're talking about provisional, for me, I study and I know that provisional is something, a temporary thing that should mean it is not final. And if it's a provisional, there shouldn't be interference.
The monthly Stakeholders Forum was organized on the directive of the Controller General of Customs. The Managing Director of National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, Hajia Ina Chiroma, has indicated that the agency plans to boost inland waterways regulation with the introduction of a new code. This action is geared towards checkmating the unlawful use of the nation's inland waters. The Managing Director of NIWA made this public during a stakeholders conference on the economic use of the Onitsha River Port. The Managing Director pointed out that the code was indeed long overdue. She also emphasized that the new code will equally serve as guide on the use of the waterways for operators. Considering the security challenges which have faced Nigeria over the years, the need to regulate the use of the nation's waterways cannot be overemphasized. Determined to make considerable impact as a port manager, Lagos Port Complex, LPC Apapa, Mr. Nasir Anas Mohammed has redoubled efforts to tackle the issue of unwholesome human traffic at the port. The port passes system, which was introduced, has yielded great results. The move has limited the number of people that come into the port to the stakeholders who have genuine transactions to conduct inside the port. The port manager earlier maintained that the port is an economic security zone meant for only those with genuine business. According to him, managing port security begins with the management of people that gain access into the port daily. The Nigerian Ports Authority quarterly invites all registered shipping companies, concessionaires, lessees and other stakeholders to the flag-off and sensitization workshop of its newly deployment revenue collection solution, PayDirect, which will henceforth be used for all payments into the authority's account with the various commercial banks in the country. The deployment of the e-payment revenue collection solution will reinforce the authority's commitment to improving the turnaround time of vessels and the overall efficiency of port operations. The Flag of Sensitization Forum will hold as follows. Date 20th February 2014. Time 11 a.m. Venue Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos. All further inquiries should be directed to Assistant General Manager, Information and Communication Technology, Nigeria Ports Authority, MPA House 26/28 Marina, Lagos. Email a.edosomeone@nigerianports.org. Signed, Management, Nigerian Ports Authority. Welcome back. Now to our special focus on NPA's port infrastructural development. On January 1st, 1914, the Northern and Southern Protectorates were officially amalgamated into one nation, giving birth to the present-day Nigeria. Since the creation of Nigeria as a nation, the country has been able to weather the storm, and a lot of progress and achievements have been made in the last 100 years of Nigeria. Despite the civil war that occurred from 1967 to the 1970s, Nigeria has grown strong and remains strong as it attains the centenary age. Just as Nigeria attains the centenary age, so also do some organizations and infrastructures constructed by the federal government. Among the infrastructure are the nation's seaports being controlled by the Nigerian Ports Authority. The first seaports in Nigeria were established in Warri and Benin between 1471 and 1472 during the Portuguese exploration of the shores of the Bights of Benin and Biafra. The seaports opened up trade in pepper, ivory and slaves between Nigerians and the Portuguese. Following the collapse of the Benin Kingdom, the volume of trade became high on the Bights of Biafra and other areas such as Brass, Akassa, Calabar, Boni and Okpobo.
The type of technology we had then and the type of vessels offering informed the kind of port facilities we had on ground. And of course, that to a large extent too was influenced by the nature of cargo and packaging that was available then. Most of the things that were being shipped were either in bags or pallets, and they were not being carried by the big vessels that we now know of. So the type of port that was in place then, the kind of facility, was such that you needed just a key apron, a hard key, the key was the key apron, then the sheds majorly that were, almost at the edge of the key apron, considering the fact that the items you were going to be handling are items in bags, in little packages, and then they had a little backup area they referred to as a stacking area.
In the early 1860s, the British took control of the seaports in Nigeria through the establishment of seaports in Lagos and Akassa, followed by the promulgation of the Niger Coast Protectorate in 1890. Efforts towards the provision of facilities for ocean-going vessels started in the early 1900s with the construction of the Lagos Breakwaters, that is, the East and West Moles, in 1906. The construction of the moles was aimed at opening up the Lagos Lagoon and protecting the dredged deep entrance into the Lagos Harbour from intense wave action and the silting up of the channel.
When you want to build a port, the first thing you start with is a breakwater. The breakwater, as you very well know if you've been to Lagos, separates the rough seas and gives you calm waters behind it. Built in 1903, after which the customs quays was built. The customs quays used to be on Marina, just in front of the post office.
The decision to develop the Apapa port in Lagos was taken in 1913, and the construction of the first 4 deep berths of 5,408.64 meters long at Apapa began in 1921. Similarly, in 1913, the Port Harcourt port was declared open to shipping by Lord Lugard. By 1927, 4 berths of 1,920 feet long were constructed at the Port Harcourt port. Economic activities in the eastern part of the country started with the discovery of coal in commercial quantity in Enugu, the southeast of Nigeria. The discovery led to the exportation of mineral resources and other agricultural produce, thus paving the way for the establishment of the Port Harcourt port.
The first major port expansion was built in the current location in Apapa, where you now have flour mills and the ferry point. That one was started in the 40s, and then there were series of expansion. It was just 3 berths first, then 2 more added to it. So between then and up to 1963, the berths from 1 up to 13-14 in Apapa was built. So we used to call that one first and second Apapa Wharf Extension.
The Port Harcourt port itself, that came on stream was meant, for the export of goods majorly and coal in particular. Port Harcourt port was the second largest port following Lagos port. And as I said, majorly all they were involved in was import, but a lot of exportation of coal and other export items, produce such as palm kernel and the rest of it.
Groundnut is coming from the north. We are shipping it palm kernel. Granite will come from the north. Tin oil will come. We will ship it in wagons. We will put it on ship and send it to England. Everything is going to England. And import, we are coming.
The first shipment of goods that came through the Port Harcourt port was made possible when the Bonny River was opened between 1913 and 1916. By 1923, the General Cargo Wharf had been constructed alongside the berthing quay for general cargo ships, which was built with 4 transit sheds. Before the establishment of the Nigerian Ports Authority in 1955, port operations and management was under the control of different government departments. Cargo handling at the terminals was the responsibility of the Nigerian Railway Corporation, while the Marine Department took charge of vessel movement from the channel to the quays. The maintenance of the quay fell under the control of the Public Works Department. The 1954 Port Act that established the Nigerian Ports Authority in 1955 empowered the NPA to harness the success of the port sector for the growth of the Nigerian economy. The NPA's development strategy was harmonized with the National Development Plan of 1962 to 1968. This development resulted in the improvement of port facilities in Lagos and Port Harcourt. However, the Nigerian port suffered a setback following the civil war that occurred from 1967 to 1970. Due to the civil war, the Port Harcourt port was closed to foreign traffic, and the Lagos port became the only available port serving the maritime transport needs.
We had a short period of inactivity as a result of the Civil War, 1967 to 1970. As soon as the war was over, the 3 R's came on, the 3 R's that the government, talked about then: reconstruction, reconciliation, and rehabilitation. But unfortunately, there wasn't any further development in Port Harcourt port itself.
The closure of the Port Harcourt port led to an unprecedented congestion at the Lagos port. The port congestion prompted the federal government's decision to acquire all the private ports in the country, such as Warri Port, owned and operated by the UAC Group, and the Calabar Port, jointly owned by 5 operators. Also, to reduce the enormous pressure on the Lagos port, the Nigerian Ports Authority embarked on some emergency measures, which included the construction of the Tin Can Island port in 1977, the acquisition of cargo handling equipment, and the attempt to increase the productivity of berthing facilities.
The expansion that followed gave us the Apapa Third Wharf extension, which contains about 1,500 linear meters of space, a container terminal, a roll-on, roll-off terminal, a multi-purpose terminal, and we had to move a little up to Tin Can Island as well. We didn't just stop there. We found ourselves requisitioning the private jetties in Warri, in Burutu, as well as Calabar, belonging to Niger River Transport and UAC, and we started developing them, and that's where we are today.
Has the management always been with Nigerians? When did Nigerians become involved in port?
When the golden era of port development came on stream as a result of the challenges we had following the end of the war and the cement armada, for instance, in Lagos area, the Apapa Port extension was constructed. The new Tin Can Island port was built within the same Lagos area. The new port of Warri was also constructed. A new Calabar port was constructed.
It's now time to bring you the shipping position. 16 vessels arrived at the Lagos Port Complex. 2 arrived with bulk wheat, 1 with base oil, 3 with containers, and 8 with various petroleum products. 1 arrived with raw sugar, and 1 came in ballast. A total of 50 vessels are expected for the week. 8 vessels with bags of rice, 2 with general cargo, 2 with fresh fish, 5 with bulk rice, 21 with containers, 1 with bulk sugar, 1 with steel, 1 with gypsum, 1 in ballast, and 5 with various petroleum products. 2 vessels are awaiting customs clearance, while 13 tanker vessels are waiting to berth. That's the shipping position for this week. That story wraps up our package on today's episode of the program. You can send your suggestions and comments to the access2014@yahoo.com. So we'll come your way again next week for another interesting episode. It's bye for now. The Nigerian Ports Authority quarterly invites all registered shipping companies, concessionaires, lessees and other stakeholders to the flag-off and sensitization workshop of its newly deployment revenue collection solution, PayDirect, which will henceforth be used for all payments into the authority's account with the various commercial banks in the country. The deployment of the e-payment revenue collection solution will reinforce the authority's commitment to improving the turnaround time of vessels and the overall efficiency of port operations. The Flag of Sensitization Forum will hold as follows. Date 20th February 2014. Time 11 a.m. Venue Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos. All further inquiries should be directed to Assistant General Manager, Information and Communication Technology, Nigeria Ports Authority, MPA House 26/28 Marina, Lagos. Email a.edosomeone@nigerianports.org. Signed, Management, Nigerian Ports Authority.